everyone, today I will be explaining the process of transpiration, so the steps, and also how transpiration is regulated within a plant. So this is part of topic 9, so higher level biology, 9.1 xylem transport. So transpiration is essentially the evaporation of water from the leaf through the stomata. And the stomata and guard cells are really important in regulating the rate of transpiration, and I'll be explaining this later. So the water evaporates from the surface of spongy mesophyll cells and then will diffuse out the leaf. The rate of transpiration can increase when humidity decreases and there are high temperatures and high wind, as heat will cause more evaporation, so heat from light energy and also just when temperatures are higher. And also when there is high wind, the wind will move the saturated water around the plant to a different area, causing the water around the plant to become less saturated, so diffusion of the water vapor can occur. So the process of transpiration, as you can see here, water essentially moves from the roots up, out through the leaves, and then into the surrounding air. In order to explain it, you do have to work your way backwards, so it might seem a bit confusing at first, but it is a relatively simple process. So because of light energy, some light energy is absorbed by leaves, and this is converted into heat, which will then evaporate water within the spongy mesophyll cells. So on the right, you can see here, this is the cross-section of a plant, and here are the spongy mesophyll cells, and they have a lot of air spaces within them. And then here are the xylem and phloem. Transpiration also involves the xylem vessel, not the phloem. So water on the spongy mesophyll evaporates to the surrounding air spaces, and this water vapor will diffuse out the leaf through the stomata over here, this opening in the lower epidermis, down the concentration gradient as it is more concentrated, there's more water vapor inside the leaf than outside. So as the spongy mesophyll becomes less concentrated, water moves from the xylem vessels into the cells, so the spongy mesophyll area. The water will move from the xylem vessel into the cells through the processes of cohesion and adhesion. So due to hydrogen bonding, cohesion will pull water molecules up the xylem, and this is called transpiration pull. Water is a polar molecule, so it has a positive and negative side because of its shape, and so hydrogen bonds will form between molecules, and this is called cohesion, and it allows the water to essentially stick together and allows it to be pulled allows all of it to be pulled up the plant, essentially against gravity. And adhesion is an attraction between water and another surface, so in this case it would be the walls of the xylem vessel, and this ensures that the water molecule chain doesn't break. As water is moving from the soil up into the leaves, the loss of water will occur from the cortex and the roots, and this causes the cells to have a lower water concentration, leading osmosis from the soil to occur. So water will move in, as you can see here, the arrows, water will move from the soil into the roots through osmosis. Then water travels up the plant stem into the leaves through cohesion and adhesion, so the transpiration pull, up the xylem vessel, and then water will leave through the leaf. As it comes up here, the vapor, it gets turned into vapor due to heat, and then the vapor goes into the air spaces within the spongy mesophyll, and because it's a lot more concentrated in here than it is out here, the water will move through the stoma out into the air, and so the plant loses water. That's essentially the process of transpiration, so now I'll just be briefly explaining how water is regulated. So the amount of water lost from the leaves is regulated by the opening and closing of stomata, which I had mentioned earlier. They're in the lower epidermis of the cross-section of the plant. So guard cells are on either side of the stomata, and if guard cells become flaccid, the stomata will close, and this occurs due to cellular signals. So when a plant begins to wilt from water stress, so it just doesn't have enough water, the dehydrated spongy mesophyll cells will release the plant hormone called abscisic acid, also known as ABA. So ABA will trigger the efflux of the potassium ion, so K+, from guard cells, and this decreases water pressure within the cells, causing it to lose turgor. And as water pressure is lost, the stomata will close as guard cells become flaccid and block the opening. So as you can see here, this is essentially the stomata. This is when the guard cells are turgid, and so as due to the presence of ABA, the guard cell will then become flaccid and the stoma closes. So when the stoma is closed, transpiration rates will be a lot lower, and this allows the plant to control essentially the transpiration rate, and ABA is released when the plant isn't getting enough water to decrease the transpiration rate, and so then the plant retains more water that would have been lost to the air.